Okay, chapter 6.9, problem solving. We're just going to work through the problem on page 277. In fact, I even have it here to show you. We'll just look at it. The essential question: how can the strategy work backwards help you solve a problem with fractions that involves adding and subtracting? The Diaz family is cross-country skiing in the Big Tree the Big Tree trails, which have a total length of 4 miles. So if we just skip back and we write down that we have a total of 4 miles, something that's important information. Yesterday they skied the 7/10 of a mile oak trail. So they skied 7/10 trail, 7/10 of a mile, and then they skied 3/5 mile trail. So the other one is 3/5 mile trail. And the question is, if they plan to ski all of the Big Tree trails, how many more miles do they have left to ski? So we look down here, what do I need to find? I need to find the distance they have left to ski. So we're going to find distance left to ski, and you can see that in the question, how many more miles do they have left to ski? Use the graphic organizer to help you solve the problem, and there's a little graphic organizer down here. We have to start with the end. We have the miles skied yesterday plus the miles skied today plus the miles they need to ski, and they listed this as M because this is something we don't know. That's what they're trying to find out here. And this equals the total distance, 4. Now these are all, these two plus this one are all things we know, and the one that we don't know is the M. So what information do I need to use? I need to use the distance we skied yesterday plus the distance we skied today and the total distance we skied. So that's what goes in here, the total distance that we skied. I can work backwards by starting with the total and subtracting each distance they have already skied to find the amount left. So we're going to start with adding the things that they need, and then we're going to work backwards to get work down to the M. So we start by adding 7/10 plus 3/5, and if you notice, that's what this goes here. Miles skied yesterday is 7/10, miles skied today is plus 3/5, plus the miles we need to ski. We don't know that, so we're going to say plus M. It's like algebra. We don't know what M is, that's what we're working on, and that equals our total, which is 4 miles. Okay, this is miles yesterday, miles today, plus what's left equals 4. If we add everything together, we get 4 miles. And we're going to go ahead and work backwards, which we've learned about before. We start with 4, and then we subtract miles skied today, and we subtract miles skied yesterday, and that should equal M. See, we have 4, and we're going to take these two away, and that should leave us with this M, the miles need to ski. That's just how that works. So we're going to work backwards. We're going to start with 4, and we're going to subtract. Yesterday is 3/5, or today is 3/5. Yesterday was 7/10, and that should leave us with M. That's the one that we don't know. So we start with this, we get rid of this one. It's kind of like crossing it out, get rid of that one, and that leaves us with M. When we subtract them away from this 4, it's kind of like getting rid of them. Alright, so 4 minus 3/5. And that's sort of like saying 4 and 0/5 minus 3/5. And we know that we have to use renaming. So 4 has to be renamed as 3 and 5/5 minus 3/5, which ends up equaling 3 and 2/5. So we have 3 and 2/5. So if we were to rewrite this whole thing, it'd be 3 and 2/5 minus 7/10 equals M. And Minus 7/10 is kind of a problem because it's a different denominator than 2/5. So again, we have to change this. And again, we're going to have to borrow because 7/10 is bigger than what we're going to get here. But let's just go ahead and change this. 5 times 2 is 10, so 2 times 2 is 4. So this is 3 and 4, oops, not 4/4, 3 and 4/10 minus 7/10 equals m. And this creates one more problem, and we're going to come over here to solve it. You've got to use lots of paper to solve these problems. So we have 3 and 4/10 minus 7/10, which causes a problem because we can't do it, so we have to rename this as 2 and 10/10 plus 4/10, right? 2 plus 10/10 plus 4/10 is the same as 3 and 4/10. So we end up with 14/10 when we combine our 10 and our 4. Minus 7/10 equals 2 and 7/10. 14 take away 7 is 7. So 2 and 7/10 is our answer, and that's what our miles. So we have 2 and 7/10 miles left. And a lot of times we want to write our answer in kind of the answer to the question. It says, so the family has blank miles left to ski. It's 2 and 7/10. This is what we got. M equals 2 and 7/10. And then that's just explain how you know your answer is reasonable. Well, we would have to check that. This is kind of like saying, well, 3/5 is like rounds to a half, and 7/10 rounds to 1. So 4 take away a half is 3.5. 3.5 take away 1 is 2.5. And that's fairly close to 2 and 7/10. So we can make that work. That's how you're going to have to do problems in this lesson. You just have to write it all out and then work backwards. I think that we're going to take some time to work on this in class. It's more of the story problem type of things. There are definitely going to be a couple of these on your test, so you have to make sure you're ready for them. Working backwards is similar to what we did in the last chapter for the problem solving. So I think you guys are starting to get the hang of this, and we'll work on it in class.